James Wan bids farewell to the horror genre. You're watching Beyond the Trailer's review of Insidious Chapter 2.
Still happening.
What is?
Tell us, what does she want?
I heard voices in the hallway. Is there something wrong with Daddy, Mom?
James Wan has impressively built a career of spinning the tiniest of budgets into humongous box office hauls, and I don't mean relatively speaking. His debut horror flick Saw made 100 times its budget, with Insidious coming close to doing the same. And interestingly, it was his bitterness over how the Saw franchise continued on without him and writing partner Leigh Whannell that inspired Wan and Whannell to make a sequel to Insidious. They wanted the opportunity to continue one of their stories with a continued focus on story and tone rather than a quick cash grab. And the reason they were able to do that is producer Jason Blum. I've had the opportunity to interview Blum twice now, both for The Purge and Insidious Chapter 2, and he's that rare movie producer who gives his talent complete creative control. There's always a catch though, and the catch here is pretty much no money up front, both in terms of salary and budget. However, it's a formula that is literally paying off. And Blum, who has a producing deal with Universal, was instrumental in helping Wan land his first blockbuster gig, directing the upcoming Fast and Furious 7. So it's fitting that Wan's final horror film, at least for now, would be for Blum. But did Wan make one too many? He had a truly spectacular hit this summer with The Conjuring, where Warner Brothers gave him $20 million to tell the story of real-life paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. And this time he delivered 10 times the budget at the box office. In fact, some horror fans are saying that The Conjuring is the best film of 2013, and perhaps one of the best horror films of all time. A great note to go out on. Too bad there's one more left to play. Then again, Insidious itself was tremendously well received, and Insidious Chapter 2 could build on the success of The Conjuring. Both films do star Patrick Wilson. And to think Wan achieves all this success with minimal special effects and gore, which shows that even today you can still find success with good old-fashioned filmmaking. It will be interesting to see how that translates to Fast 7.
So as you might have seen, I got the chance to interview the cast and filmmakers of Insidious Chapter 2. And in my Patrick Wilson interview, he mentioned that he was really proud of the fact that his films with James Wan don't need to rely on, sex, gore, and cheap thrills to entertain the audience. And he totally hits the nail on the head there, because that really is the strong point of James Wan in general as a filmmaker, and Insidious Chapter 2. Now, as you might know if you watch this channel regularly, I'm not a fan of gory horror films. It's hard for me to watch them. I don't find them entertaining. So I was so delighted that James Wan didn't do that here. Instead, I think he focuses on good old-fashioned storytelling and mythology to really give you the scares and pull you into the story, which I love. This film is more similar to kind of like those horror books that you read as a kid. I mean, I in particular discovered the work of Lois Duncan when I was a kid, and I read she's written a whole bunch of these kind of like paperback horror novels or thrillers, horror thrillers, and I just loved them so much. And I just read right through them when I was little, and this kind of took me back to that place of not incredibly sophisticated storytelling, but just good, simple, gripping storytelling. And now I have to say, a lot of you don't like it when I don't see a film beforehand. I haven't seen Insidious, the first Chapter 1, and I didn't see The Conjuring because I was at Comic-Con, and so I missed the boat on that, which I'm still frustrated about, because obviously that was a huge deal. So I can't tell you if James Wan has kind of backtracked a little bit in terms of quality, because he said this is his last horror film, as I mentioned in the opening. But in terms of whether or not you need to see Insidious Chapter 1 to see this film, I don't think so at all. You just kind of need to know the basic setup, and that's that Patrick Wilson is the one who has this tie to the afterlife that he's passed on to his son. And so there, you're ready to go. And I think the film does a great job of not making you have to have seen the first one to enjoy this. I think they do a great job catching you up a little bit and giving new mythology and new aspects to the story that you can enjoy at any level. And so I really enjoyed being able to watch this movie and not have to hide my eyes constantly or be grossed out or be like, who finds disembowelment entertaining? I just was able to really sit back and enjoy a good old-fashioned ghost story. I also want to say the other thing I really like about this film that I was caught off guard by was the sophisticated approach it took to marriage. You don't see that a lot in movies. But I think that the work, not only from the script by Wan and Wanell, but also the work by Patrick Wilson and Rose Byrne, created a really sophisticated look at the dedication that a couple has to each other. That even though they're not related by blood and they haven't known each other for a good part of their lives, there's like a strength and a bond there that they're not willing to give up on. And that was really nice to see. And I think the relationship with the children was somewhat nice to see as well. But that isn't explored as much as this husband and wife bond, not willing to give up on each other. And I thought that was really nice. That was refreshing. So, and by the way, James Wan, I'm really excited to see what he does with Fast 7, because as I said, he doesn't have a really big bag of tricks when it comes to special effects, obviously, from these movies. So I'm interested to see how he transitions there. But he gets an awful lot out of a simple dolly and then rack focus or pan. I mean, he really knows how to make that effective. And I think that's wonderful for anyone who's in film school, because it even seems like he's on that film school dolly, the two metal poles and like the skateboard, basically, the skateboard dolly. That's kind of like how low tech this film can seem. And it gives I like that because it gives the film a little bit of a timeless quality. It feels almost like a film made sometimes in the 70s or the 80s. But I really liked it. I had a really good time, and it was a horror movie that I could enjoy. I think everybody could enjoy it. So if you want to see a movie this weekend, if you want to get in on the Insidious 2 hype, because it's expected to open huge, it's expected to open with 40+ million, you can go and have a great time and be a part of the event. And not feel that you are missing out because you haven't seen the first film. And I think that hopefully fans of the first film, I think they'll be pleasantly surprised. And I think this is a good note for James Wan to go out on. So that's my review of Insidious Chapter 2. If you've seen it, write your thoughts down below. And how do you feel about James Wan leaving the horror genre? Are you going to miss him, or are you excited for his new chapter with action movies? All right, write your thoughts down below, and thanks for watching. Bye.